search abandoned islands or make these deep sea dives that are treasure hunters. We might use different words to describe it, but all of us are really in search of treasure. As God has made us to be, we are worshipers. We are those that want to find valuable things or valuable pursuits. Such things matter to us. And so we have things that we treasure, that we value, that we are pursuing. We are, in a very real way, treasure hunters. And as I said, after this morning's service, we plan to go into our business meeting. And the very term can be misleading. There is business to manage. We understand that, and we want to be responsible with it. But of course, we want to be known as a ministry, first and foremost, that is responsible with its financial things and with the calendar and with membership and all of those things. As we go into this, our financial goals as a church include paying our bills in a timely manner. They include working towards paying off our building mortgage. Even a big chunk of what we take in goes to supporting my family, to free me to give my time to the ministry of the Word and to prayer. If you look at our budget, you can find what matters to us as a church, at least in part. It wouldn't show everything of what matters to us as a church, but it would show what we think is important in order for the ministry to go on. When you look at money, you find often what is important to people, and in addition to that, you start to see a window into what people or entities or businesses treasure. What kind of principles should guide a church? And by that I mean, what kind of principles should guide a group of people that has come together in a covenant, keeping each other accountable to a set doctrine, to a set practice? What principles should guide us as we make financial decisions? And there are principles here in Matthew 6, 19 through 24 that can help to guide us. This is not the all-encompassing passage on financial matters for a church, but these principles can help us as we go forward. So please listen or follow along as I read Matthew 6, 19 through 24. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The eye is the lamp of the body. So if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. The challenge from the Word this morning is really on an individual level, but I hope we can see the importance of operating as a church family in accordance with Jesus' teaching here. And the theme of the passage, can we put something like this: invest your life in a way that matters, serve God. Invest your life in a way that matters, so serve God. Our passage this morning, as I said, is part of the Sermon on the Mount. It's part of a longer stretch of teaching that Jesus gave in one setting. In Matthew 6:1, just go back a few verses there, Jesus says, "Beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them, for then you will have no reward from your Father who is in heaven." And after saying this statement, he then goes into three different sections. A section on giving, on prayer, and on fasting. And in each of these sections, you'll find two different phrases repeated. The one phrase that he says is, "They have received the reward." Those who are doing these three different things so that people notice, that's the reward. People see them do it. And that's as far as it goes. The other phrase that is repeated in each of these three sections is, "Your Father who sees in secret will reward you." Those who understand what it means to truly practice righteousness, not to be seen by men, but to be faithful before God, there's this reminder that in each of these three sections, your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And then right after the teaching on these three things, giving, prayer, and fasting, we now come to this section starting in verse 19 where Jesus talks on treasure. It's not a coincidence for him to be talking of reward in each of those three sections, and then to give further instruction on treasure. So it's kind of all coming together here. Even afterwards, Jesus teaching on worry, being anxious about life, starting in verse 25. It really is a unit as he's going through these different matters. What type of reward or what type of treasure should God's people really be seeking? As Jesus compares treasures in our passage, there's really only one right answer here, and that is we should be seeking eternal treasure. We should be storing up treasure in heaven, not temporary treasure on earth. So the theme, once again, invest your life in a way that matters, serve God. And those living for the notice of others are not serving God. But what does it look like to invest your life in service to God? So we're going to consider three different descriptions of such a life this morning. The first is that such a life of investing oneself in service to God, such a life stores up lasting treasure. The second is such a life sees things rightly. And the third, such a life demands a singular focus. Now, you could take those 3 points and apply them in a variety of different aspects of life, but hopefully the content will show that this is the way that Christ would have us look. First, such a life stores up lasting treasure. In verses 19 through 21, Jesus is focusing on what people consider valuable enough to gather together and to store for the future. We still do this today, probably in a little different ways than in Jesus' time. But even in Jesus' time, people would gather things together and then store them in something like a barn. We haven't moved all that far down the road when we talk about crops. So the concept is at least there. Again, there's two options. Option one, collect valuable things on earth. Option two, collect or work towards treasures that are in heaven. So the treasures compared. As he compares, what is the difference between them? The assumption is that people are working towards one or the other. Whatever your focus is right now, your pursuit in life, maybe pursuits, falls into one of these two different categories. Either it's treasure that is being built on earth or treasure that is being built for eternity. The previous three examples of giving, prayer, and fasting serve to illustrate what an earthly or heavenly focus looks like. It also shows the temporary nature of earthly rewards. People see what you're doing and then that's it. We should be careful to distinguish here the difference between wise stewardship and careful enjoyment of things on earth, as God has instructed, and the sinful focus of worshiping or serving of treasures on earth. So, by this, Jesus is not saying that it's wrong to appreciate or value things on earth. In fact, it's very important that we learn as believers the right way to enjoy God's blessings here on earth. We're going to talk about that as we continue going through here. So Jesus is not saying that it's wrong to have anything valuable on earth. His point is different than that. What was the problem that Jesus gave with treasure building on earth? Well, in the passage he shows that treasure does not last. Where moth and rust destroy, where thieves break in and steal. There is no security. There is no true security with treasures on earth. They can disappear. They can lose their value. They can be rotted out. They can one day just be gone. Treasures on earth simply are not truly, absolutely secure. Treasures in heaven cannot be destroyed and cannot be stolen. Proverbs 23, 4 and 5 show the danger of earthly treasure when they say, do not toil to acquire wealth. Be discerning enough to desist. Then when your eyes light on it, it is gone. For suddenly it sprouts wings, flying like an eagle toward heaven. So this treasure can be gone in front of your very eyes. It can just disappear. wisdom, seeing that treasure can be gone in a moment. Even in today's world of high-tech security, how many different ways exist for ruining your wealth? Bugs that literally eat things away like moths and termites still exist. Have you ever encountered termites destroying your property? Still very much a danger. Thieves still go after money. Maybe they use fishing instead today, and that's PHISING, fishing, putting out these things that look real or look right, but instead just take your money and put them into their bank account. Inflation, deterioration, there's all kinds of things that can still hurt our wealth today. I should note that this passage is not arguing for a focus of any kind of merit building either with God. It's interesting that Jesus does not explain what the reward or treasure for God is for those who practice righteousness. Your Father who sees in secret will reward you. How? It doesn't explain. Lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. What are those treasures? Well, they're lasting treasures. The passage doesn't go beyond that, at least in our paragraph here. They're what lasts. But this is not merit building with God. This is not getting on God's good side. This is not just acquiring all kinds of things to make yourself look good. Perhaps in general, a general understanding would just be that these treasures are enduring eternal consequences of godly living. They're consequences that God blesses His people with for choosing righteousness. But Jesus' purpose in this paragraph is not to identify what those consequences are. So these treasures He compares them. But also, hearts are revealed. We see in verse 21, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The subject Jesus is teaching on is incredibly vital. Why? Because what someone treasures reveals what someone loves. It reveals what the heart is. At the beginning of the statement, in verse 21, Jesus makes his statement more personal, more direct. We don't have this distinguishing thing in our English language, but in verses 19 and 20, Jesus is addressing a group of people, and his language shows that, second person plural. So you, all of you. When we get to verse 21, it's singular, for where your treasure is, and where your treasure is, each of you. It's on a personal level. This is a personal matter. You can know what a person loves by what a person considers truly valuable, what that person treasures. We might treasure many things, but to help us identify and evaluate what we treasure, consider what you look forward to, what you protect, what you work towards. Even such things as what you grow angry over if people try to take them away. Those can help point us to what we love. You say, well, why is that necessary? Because we don't always think in our minds, I'm doing this because I love such and such. Sometimes the very motives of our heart are hard to identify. And if you've tried to identify motives in different situations, you've seen the difficulty. So as you work to identify the list of what is it that I truly care for and love, the question you can ask is, do I treasure this object or this person or this event in a way that honors God? And that helps us start getting down the road to see if our focus is on earth or in heaven. Do I treasure this object or this person, this event, or whatever it is in a way that honors God? Is it possible to have something you value on this earth while pursuing the goal of storing a treasure in heaven? Yes. I certainly hope it is. We're not supposed to be people that don't care about anything here on earth. So it is possible to have things that we value on earth while pursuing the goal of storing a treasure in heaven. But the dangerous things are those that don't allow us to honor God, or that make it increasingly difficult to honor God while we treasure those things. I'm not saying we get rid of those, but we need to be aware of the danger that can be there. So a job promotion is a perfectly fine thing to be working towards. Spending extra time to finish a project at work early, or working towards saving for a new car, or remodeling your kitchen, or updating your wardrobe, or setting money aside in your IRA, planning a hunting trip. These are all things that are permissible and can be done well, that can be right and enjoyable for the believer and right for them to enjoy before God. So how do we lay up treasure in heaven and keep from loving things on earth too much? This is where we come to verse 22. It has to do with our eyesight. Jesus is the master teacher, and he now brings in this picture of the eye in verse 22. Such a life of service towards God sees things rightly. Such a life of service towards God stores up lasting treasure. Number two, such a life sees things rightly. The eye is a lamp of the body, so if your eye is healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? Good eyes identify the treasure. Consider these two verses from Psalm 119. Psalm 119, verse 10, with my whole heart I seek you. Let me not wander from your commandments. So that would go in line with verse 21 in our passage. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. With my whole heart I seek you. But then verse 15, just a few verses later, I will meditate on your precepts and fix my eyes on your ways. And it's the teaching of Scripture that often what we love is what we set our eyes upon as well. It's where our focus is. These two things come together. Or Jeremiah 22:17. But you have eyes and heart only for your dishonest gain, for shedding innocent blood, and for practicing oppression and violence. You have eyes and heart only for dishonest gain. The eyes and the heart go together. What we love, we set our eyes upon. We fix our gaze upon. So when the eye is healthy, a person has comprehension of the world that is around us, right? When you can see, you can then look around and know what is going on around you. The eye is how you perceive what exists. This, of course, relates to our value system as Jesus intends for it to illustrate what he has said of treasure in verses 19 through 21. So when our perception of the world is right, when we're seeing the world rightly as God would have us to see it, we rightly identify what is valuable and what is temporary. It is the treasures in heaven that are valuable, not the treasures on earth. So when our eyes are seeing things as God wants us to see them, in categories that he wants to use us to use, this is valuable, this is not valuable, pursue this, then we're seeing the world rightly. But bad eyes miss the right treasure. Some of you here struggle with poor eyesight. That's not one thing that I'm afflicted with, but I do remember growing up, I was on a baseball team as a young kid, and my position was pitcher. But it was a young enough team that the coaches pitched to their own teams. You say, well, what does a pitcher do then? I would just stand next to the other team's coach, and I was there to field any balls that were hit. So that way the coach, hopefully, would not have this choice of do I help the other team or do I help my team. So my position was to stand up next to that other team's coach. Well, it was a particularly hot and sunny day, and so I was told to put on suntan lotion. And I was very diligent in putting on suntan lotion. And as I put it on my face, I thought, well, I don't want my eyelids to get sunburned. Sure enough, suntan lotion goes on my eyelids. And then I'm out there, and you see where this is going. A hot day, a sunny day, and I start sweating, and this suntan lotion starts getting in my eyes, and I cannot see. And it finally got to the point where a ball was hit, and it was near me, I guess, somehow, but I couldn't react because I didn't see where the ball was going. And the coach pulled me from the game. It was better that way, and that way I didn't hurt myself or somebody else. Eyesight is important. If your eye is bad or unhealthy, your whole body is in the dark. You cannot perceive what is going on around you as you need to. Now we know that there are other senses that we can use, but how important is the sense of sight? If your eye is bad or unhealthy, your whole body is in the dark. So remembering the things of God, regarding the things of God, you will not be able to distinguish right from wrong. You won't be able to identify the treasure that you should truly be seeking after. Your choices of treasure, what treasure to pursue, those choices will be wrong. How great that darkness then becomes. I fear that we as believers struggle with unhealthy eyes far more often than we think or would like to admit. We're treasure seekers, as I said, because we are worshipers. This is how God made us to be. Take a look backwards for a moment. Consider the past week. What was important to you? Did you approach those people or those events or responsibilities or pleasures, whatever it is, fill in the blank, did you approach that from an eternal perspective? Or does your heart betray you, showing that you have treasured what simply does not last? Now, I know these are deeper matters than I can go through in this kind of setting. There are more questions that we can ask. Again, the heart, it's a deep well, and working through motivations takes time. But maybe these things can help us further along that road. So maybe you say, well, how do I tell the difference between living with an eternal perspective and living for things that do not last? Let's take an example. Let's say on Friday, and I know this is an example from a man's mind probably. Maybe you'll think that because it involves meat and a grill. But I know that there are many of you out there that enjoy eating. That's a good pursuit in life. Something that God gives us to enjoy by taste is something we can rejoice in. So let's say on Friday you're looking forward to a special meal. Somebody found, whoever does the shopping, somebody found a good deal on steak. You haven't had it in a while, and you're looking forward to grilling it. You or whoever it is you trust with the grill. And that person knows just how to get that meat to perfection. It's been a while, like I said, you're getting to Friday afternoon, your stomach is grumbling, you're anticipating this meal. Nothing up to this point has been sinful. It's good to look forward to eating. Eating is a joy in life that God has given to us. It's nice to find those deals. And it's nice to have a grill. And now you're looking forward to this meal. Here's the question. How do you approach the meal with an eternal perspective? You say, what are you talking about? You have the meal, and then it's over. There's nothing eternal there about it. Well, there is. What we treasure and how we treasure it reveals our hearts. It's not wrong to look forward to that meal. But is the prayer before your meal just a routine matter? Or are you truly expressing thanksgiving to God for such a wonderful meal? A heart of thanks or a lack of a heart of thanks shows a great deal about where your focus is. Don't overlook that. Thanksgiving is huge, or the lack of it. God treasures those hearts that look to Him and say thank you. As you eat, is your focus more on eating as much as possible? This is the steak I bought, so this is the steak I'm going to eat. Or maybe your focus is on enjoying the taste. Other people are merely there. Your experience is on savoring each bite. It's not wrong to savor. Is your focus on giving thanks to God even as you eat? Every once in a while realizing that I can taste this food because it's a gift from God. Or is it on the fellowship that you can have, the discussion that you can have with those around you? Ultimately, is the meal a blessing from God that causes you to look to Him with a thankful heart and use the opportunity for His glory? To be a blessing to others, to be an encouragement to others, to share in life with others, or merely as you need to look to God and rejoice in His goodness to you. If your focus never gets beyond the steak itself, you are worshiping an idol rather than the one true God. You can take such questioning and apply it to a multitude of activities, whether reading or watching a show or listening to music or exercising or talking with friends, taking on a project you enjoy, and so on and so on and so on. We can fill in that blank with all kinds of things, but the principles still apply. If your focus never gets beyond the creative object or the creative person or the creative activity, your eyesight is bad. You have chosen a treasure that is not going to last. And in this context specifically, Jesus is focusing on financial matters. Earthly treasures are still earthly, even if they hold some value for today. So to set them as your treasure and pursuit means your eyesight is bad. You are failing to see life accurately, and so you are failing in life. It's not wrong. I hope you hear this. It's not wrong to enjoy the things that God gives to us. It's not wrong to work hard towards them. But how you enjoy those things, how you use those things, even how you pursue those things, shows where your heart is. Number 3, such a life of service towards God demands a singular focus. Demands a singular focus. So we get to verse 24. No one can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money. At this point, Jesus states the conclusion of his teaching in these short paragraphs. This is what he has been moving towards. You really can only have one master. And you will have a master. If you choose to serve money, money will be your master, not God. If you choose to serve God, God will be your master and not money. Now we know well this is not like it's a once-and-done choice. I made this choice back in 1900, and no, that's good that you made the choice back then to serve God. But we're often confronted with this choice. Will I serve God, or will I serve part of his creation? Now your choice might be between God and something else. It might be between God and power. It might be between God and pleasure. Or between something else and God. In truth, you can only have one master. For a slave it's not possible to please 2 masters. Inevitably, that slave will have a choice to make between them. And that slave's choice will show which master is loved and which master is despised. You cannot serve God in wealth. You cannot serve God in fortune. You cannot serve God in money. Even as you try to serve both, you'll have to make choices between the one or the other. So let's go back to verse 21. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Let's get specific. Consider your bank account. What does it show you treasure? Now we know that there are expenses in life that we all have. But what does it show that you treasure? Does it show that you serve God? Does it show that you love others? As those of us here who are members of the church, you've made a commitment to support the ministry of the church financially. As much as you're able, do you do this? Do you support the ministry of the church financially? I don't mean to use this at all like a club. To beat us down and to say, you must give. So I mean to be the messenger. How you use what you have financially shows whether you are a servant of that money or you're a servant of God. Even as I challenge you with this, I give no promises that if you give to the church, you will start finding God's abundant blessing on your life. I can't make that promise. I can say that if you claim to serve God but don't show it with how you use your money, something is wrong. Now we have members even of our church, and this is even getting more specific. We have members of our church who are ladies whose husbands are not members. To keep this from needlessly harming anybody, please let me say here that I encourage you that if you desire to give and you're in that situation, to only do so with the awareness and consent of your husband. I don't say this because I believe that men should make every single financial choice and approve every single financial choice. I say it because showing right submission to your husband and giving against his wishes or without his knowledge don't really go together. It's a hard road that you have before you. And I don't want giving to the church to become a bone of contention between you two. Pray for opportunities to give in ways that he's comfortable with. Even couples here, both members, working through how do we give It's difficult. Money is hard. Have you ever had a disagreement, if you're married, with your spouse over money? Is the sky blue? These things are hard. But Jesus did not shy away from the tough issues of his day. By no means did he shy away from the tough issues of his day. Money is a tough issue. And so let us be guided forward by his teaching. Some conclusions to bring along. Our members will see in just a few minutes that we really aren't in a position, maybe you've already seen or you already know, we're not in a position that we have all this extra spending that we can do. So perhaps you wonder, why choose a passage like this? We should be able to fit every decision we make as a church underneath the umbrella of a desire to serve God. Every decision we make should show that our desire is to serve God. This passage targets the choice between money and God. It means that we must use money in a way that God approves of. That's a good thing to say, even if we think everybody knows it. We need to use our resources in a way that is honoring to God, that shows we're trying to serve Him. Ministry itself can be very costly. I'm not just talking financially, but it certainly applies in that area. So it's right for us to ask at times, are we using this money in such a way that shows that we treasure God, that we treasure His Word, that we treasure His people, and also that we treasure reaching the lost with the message of Christ? These are important things. And as much as we have opportunity, our use of money should show this as well. And often money is just the beginning. We spend money on our buildings so that we can have a central location to meet, so that we can conduct different activities together. How we proceed after using that money, and as we use that money towards the building, how we proceed with that building also shows what we treasure. How we treat the building shows that we treasure. We can go on and on from there. One last thing. We've been able to pay our bills for 2017. Praise God. Praise God for His faithfulness to us, for His provision, for His kindness. We have some money in the bank to be a reserve. Praise God. We're able to use some of our funds to be a blessing to others. Praise God for that opportunity. To miss such an opportunity, praise God, would be wrong on our part. So as we enter into our annual meeting in just a little bit, I hope it's with thankfulness that we can look back and see what God has done in the area of money. As we go forward, may our conversations show that our chief aim is to act as servants of the one true God. Let's turn to Him in prayer. Thank you, Jesus Christ, for faithfully teaching on hard subjects. We need this teaching as individuals and as a church. We need the truth to hit us between the eyes that what we treasure shows what we love. Thank you that even as we look at the issue of money a little bit in this passage, we can look to You and say thank You for providing for last year. Thank You that we were able to be faithful in our financial responsibilities, and even beyond that, we were able to give in some different ways. Thank You for how You have cared for this ministry, this church. May we be a church that in every way, in everything that we do, our motivation is to serve You, is to honor You, is to exalt You, to declare You. May we be a church that our focus is clear. We want to treasure You, to worship You. We want to see the immense value that is in Your perfect Word. We desire to be a ministry who loves each other. We know we can't do this perfectly. Conflict will inevitably come. but how helpful it is within the realm of church body life to be able to give to each other, to serve each other in that way. And God, we have a burden. We hope that it's growing, but it has been there for a long time. A burden to reach those who do not know Christ in this area. These are important things. These are vital things. Teach us more and day by day how to treasure what truly matters. May we not be the ministry. May we not be the people that are going blind with an inability even to distinguish what truly matters for our church family. So we ask for wisdom as we go forward, for faithfulness to your word, for the ability to serve you as you have commanded.